Hi, I am Amma Duncan. In 2015, while in corporate Ghana, I was up to my neck in feeling stuck. Plus, I was always broke. I wanted a change like yesterday. I was just tired. While thinking about what to do, I had an idea to share stories about women as a way of honing my writing skills to become an author. Little did I know that Father God upstairs had way bigger plans for me. Now, this idea has developed over the past 7 years into the Fabulous Woman Network, a social enterprise which helps women create wealth and impact people. Through events, training, coaching, and mentoring, we've impacted thousands of women around the world. In the beginning, I knew zilch about running a business, and so I invested in many programs and books. I still do. Learning and applying them is empowering me to create wealth, and I desire to help others get empowerment too. In fact, my vision is to see an Africa in which women are empowered to create wealth and impact people. I am constantly being asked many business-related questions, and so over the next couple of months, I'll be doing a series called Start Your Own Fabulous Business on my weekly podcast called Mind Your Business. If you're new in business, I dedicate this to you. But if you prefer to work with me one-on-one, then go to amaduncan.com/store to book a discovery call with me. For now, grab your notepad, pen, cup of tea, and enjoy. Welcome back to Mind Your Business. You know, of late, a few things have been happening for me to realize how committed I am to Mind Your Business. And I just had to say this to celebrate me because I'm so happy. You know, like as at the time I'm recording this, it's late. Usually I have a day and time of recording Mind Your Business episodes. However, this week has been full of a lot of different activities, engaging, fun activities, but also have taken me away from work a bit. And in spite of this, I'm like, no, I am not postponing this episode. I am showing up because I am committed to this. So this is just me celebrating me for showing up. And I know that, especially if you're in business, there are days that you don't even feel like showing up. I get you. I feel you. But as long as we are committed to the course that we are on, we move. So anyway, have you started your own fabulous business yet? And as usual, let me just repeat that these series of episodes, which are focused on starting your own fabulous business, is for people who are not already in business, but you're looking to start. So I created this to help you with a few tips, based on my own experiences and some of the things that my clients have shared with me or I've heard from the many business people that I engage with. These are basic stuff that we need to do in the beginning of our businesses. So we started off at the beginning of June with how do I start my business? Who will I sell to? How do I sell online? Which social media tools can I use to advertise? How do I create a customer database? That was last week. And the call to action for last week was for all of us to pull out a list of clients who have done businesses with us this year. Did you do it? Well, I hope you did. Or if you're like me, I hope at least it's a work in progress and you're not just going to say, oh, you know what? Yeah, everything else is important. Let me put that aside. It will really come in handy, especially if at the end of the year you want to say thank you to all the people who have done business with you and you forget, right? So yeah, go do that now. Today, I am talking about how do I keep records of how much I'm spending and earning. And before I get to it, let me just say as well that this Mind Your Business podcast is to serve all of you fabulous people out there who need this kind of content that I share, and it's free. You don't have to pay anything. You just come to our YouTube channel, you listen. Some of you reach out and tell me how you are binge watching or binge listening. I'm so grateful. To God be the glory that I can do something of value to serve you, and you can have access to this free of charge. However, if you want to work with me one-on-one, I'm happy to coach you, train you, or consult for you, whatever it is that you feel you need my support with. We start this process with a discovery call. This is where we determine what you need, your goals, and the best way to serve you. So please click on the link in the caption. It's amaduncan.com/store and book a discovery call with me. Right, so back to today's. How do I keep records of how much I'm spending and earning? Why is it even important to keep records of how much you're spending and earning? Well, let me start from the bigger picture of things. Once your business becomes established, you're no more a startup trying to figure things out, and at this point, everybody knows you're running a business, you're making sales, profits, and all these things. It helps you in a few ways. First of all, to know how much tax you're paying. I don't even know why I started with the tax bit. I guess this is because it's tax that the government uses to develop our economy. So it's also sort of your contribution to the economy. I'm just laughing at myself here. But anyway, it also helps you to know how much the value of your business. So, for instance, if someone is coming to buy your company at a certain point, we've heard of how some companies are bought for 1 million and how many millions. And I'm like, oh my God, how are they able to arrive at that? Well, one of the key things that matter is that you keep records of how much you're actually spending and earning at the beginning, because it helps to know the value of your company. Also, you obviously comply with the laws of the land because you're supposed to keep records, and it's also a control measure. So, for instance, if you have a bookkeeper or accountant or someone, this is a way for you to be able to check them and all that. However, for a startup, remember, you are now at the beginning stages of your business. You're still trying to figure things out to see if you really want to do this or not, if it's viable and all that. The reason you need to keep records of your earnings and spendings is because it will help you to know how much you are actually putting into the business and how much you're making. This also helps you to price properly. And let me tell you, I always use this example because now in hindsight, I'm like, oh my God, Amma. So there was this event that I organized on behalf of the Fabulous Woman Network, maybe about 5-6 years ago. And the ticket was 100 Ghana cedis per person. And let me tell you how I arrived at this 100 Ghana cedis per person. So I went to the hotel that I wanted to use and negotiated for them to give me the dinner, the space and like that part of the logistics for 70 Ghana cedis. So the minute they gave me the 70, I was like, oh, okay, then I can charge 100. In that case, I'll make 30 Ghana cedis. Oh my goodness. Little did I know that I would incur so many other costs, transportation for errands. There were costs involved in admin. There were some materials that needed to be printed. I needed to have some entertainers coming. We needed a certain kind of camera crew and all. There were so many other things that I didn't put in. Well, of course, I was now beginning, so I didn't really know what I was doing. But see, in my head, I was like, oh, they are charging me 70, so it means if I charge 100, I can make 30 cedis per person. But actually, so the bottom line is, at the end of the day, I made so many losses from this event and many other events to follow. By God's grace, this is no more my portion, and I declare it in Jesus' name. No more events that are not profitable in the name of Jesus. But this is important for me to share because it helps in noting down how much you're spending and how much you're earning. Once you do that, you actually know how much you're putting into it. So many times I forgot that I was actually spending on my business from my personal income. Especially when I used to be in full-time employment. At the end of the month, whatever my company gave me, I would spend some on my business without recording, without keeping that in mind and thinking, oh, I was making profits. But actually, once I actually sat down to deduct all those other monies I had put in, I realized that, oh my God, this thing is not profitable. So then you realize that, okay, the way I'm pricing this is not sustainable. So this is really super important. Please, please, please. This is the main reason that as a startup, you should be recording how much you're spending and then how much you're earning. And then also, when is it the best time to start recording your spendings and earnings? From the first day you start spending on your business or earning income from your business. So whichever comes first, the minute you start spending. So I'll go into the details of what kind of details to keep. So let's move on. But I hope you get me. Like as soon as you start spending, as soon as you start earning from your business, please go ahead and start recording. Now, where can you keep these records? The easiest way, let me not just say easiest way, because I have even tried these so-called easy ways and it wasn't. But I think in my experience, you may have to try a few things to get to your sweet spot. So one of the ways is using a journal, and they're actually pre-designed journals on the market that you can buy, which has already, it has some sort of spreadsheets that you can put in the details. Or you can get your own blank journal and note it down. So one of the mistakes I used to make was I used to record everything. Oh, I was recording well, but it was in a general journal that I wrote every other thing in, and I would stop using it or it would be full and I wouldn't record I wouldn't transfer the records and I would lose them and all that. Like today, if you ask me, I can still pull out those journals, but it's tons and tons of recordings. Like it's crazy to just keep going back. So I would say that if you're using a journal, please dedicate one journal to your earnings and spendings, okay? Another way is to use spreadsheets with backup. So the common spreadsheet most of us use is Excel. So you can create your own spreadsheet and then please make sure it is backed up so that when your computer crashes or something, you still have the backup. Or the easiest way for spreadsheets is to use Google Spreadsheets, for instance, which is stored on the drive. So as long as you have access to your email, you still have access to that Google Spreadsheet and you can update it anytime. There are also apps and tools, other online tools like apps, and I recommend Oze, which I've used for the past couple of years. It helps me with a lot more than just keeping my records. I can also send receipts to clients. I can send invoices, and at the end of every month, I'm able to tell exactly how much I made, how much I spent. It's really good. It's awesome. And I love that there are a lot of young Ghanaian men and women working in this company, and their customer service is beautiful. So I've actually added a link that you can click on so that you can check out Oze. I've recommended it to many of the women I work with, and so far so good. I personally also use it. So I want you to check it out. But of course, there are other apps out there. I haven't used many others. So, for now, it's only the Oze that I would mention. Check it out and see for yourself if you like it. Of course, there are other apps and there are other softwares. Just Google. You can Google bookkeeping apps or bookkeeping tools or softwares and see what comes up, and then check it out. Please, so I beg, your mind is not a good place to store records. You know how you buy one thing and you're like, oh, I'll record it later. Then you buy another, then another, and life happens and you forget. My sister, I beg you in the name of God, and my brother as well, please, don't do that to your mind. It has a lot to worry about. Can you just record somewhere else, okay? All right, the next point I'll talk about is the kinds of details that are important to keep in your record. So obviously, the date of the transaction is important. Transaction type, was it an expenditure or was it a income? Expenditure is also spending. When you spend, when you use money to buy something, that's an expenditure. And income is when you make a sale or like somebody pays you for something. Okay. So in simple terms, this is what it means really. And then also the customer or supplier details. Last week we talked about customer database, so you can also refer to that to know the kind of information that's necessary here. And then items purchased or sold. So if it's a service, of course, the service has a name. If it's a product, it has a name. And any other relevant information depending on the kind of business that you're doing. Look, even if you don't know what kind of information is relevant, you start with what I've said for now. I know for sure that as you keep going in your business, you will learn more, you learn better ways of doing things and you do better. So just start with what you have. I firmly believe in that. Okay, another question. Who is responsible for keeping your records? You, of course. You are the business owner, and at this time, it's likely only you, or maybe it's a couple of you, but whoever you are listening to me, you are responsible. Because you are new in this business, you are still trying to figure things out. So keep doing it until you can afford someone to do it for you, or you can find someone else to do it for you, and you can teach them how to do it properly for you so that when you need that information, you can easily have it. Okay, the last question I'll answer on this is how can you record your spendings and earnings? Okay, so if you're using any of the apps or softwares, like I said, Google and see what can come up, or use Google Spreadsheet or use Oze or all these, then all you have to do is to learn how to use it. And thanks to, they already have videos that you can check out on YouTube. So as long as you're ready to learn, you'll figure it out. If you're using a spreadsheet, then a simple way that I can advise you to start with for now, or I can suggest to you, is to create two tables. One for your expenditure or any time you spend, and another for your income. You can also do this if you are the spreadsheet, whether it's online or in your journal. So any time you spend, record. Say you are a coach like me, so you meet clients online, so you use Zoom. You spend on Zoom. Zoom, I think the basic one is $14.99 USD. So you spend, you record that, and please record in the currency that you were actually charged. So even if it was $14.99, but you paid in cedis, record it in cedis, because the next month, you know that the rate might be different, right? So you want to have your accurate figures as you paid. So you pay for your Zoom, maybe you paid for internet, maybe you had to travel to go and meet the client, so you pay. You have to record that. Maybe you had to pay for dinner for the client, or any such expenditure that is business related. Now, some of you may say, okay, but I use the same phone for business and personal use. Yes, I have that as well. What somebody advised me was to bill, say, a portion of that to business. So for instance, you decide how much time you spend or how much internet you spend out of, let's say if every month you spend 100 Ghana cedis on data, how much of that data is actually used on business? You just have to, I guess, do a guesswork in the beginning and say, okay, 70% of this 100 Ghana cedis is being billed to my business, right? So for the beginning, don't overthink it. Just try and gauge and then put something there. Just make sure it's recorded that you are acknowledging that you spent on that. Another thing that I used to forget to record was Uber. I would, normally where I live in Kumasi, I drive, but when I travel, especially to Accra or to other cities, I would use Uber, and then I would forget, And, fortunately, too, Uber gives you receipts and all that. So it's really important that you pull that and add it to your expenditure. Now, anytime you earn as well, record. So, for instance, a client pays you for coaching or buys your books or pays you for speaking, training, or whatever it is that they pay you for, please record. For some of you as well, maybe it was a grant or a gift to support your business or something, just record. At this point, you just want to know how much you're actually pumping into the business and how much you are getting out of it. Remember, you are still testing, so don't overthink it and don't worry about, as I'm speaking, I'm thinking about some accounting terms and no, please, this is not the time to worry about that. You have someone to worry about these for you when the time is right. For now, you just want to make sure that you're recording so that when you are actually ready to have an accountant come in, at least you give them something and you won't be so stressed out like I used to be. Anyway, now, after you've done all these, your recordings, just general recording, record. At the end of each period, say a month, you can actually subtract your total spendings from your total earnings so you know how much profit or loss you've made. And in the beginning, if you're making a loss, chill, cry, it's normal. You know, in the beginning, you may have to put in a lot more than you get, but it pays eventually. Now, technically, this is not really your profit yet, but I don't want to confuse you with things that I don't even understand myself. This is why we get accountants to help us. And yes, eventually you have to pay someone to help you with these things. But for now, your job is just record. Okay. So, just to summarize what I've said, I've shared on why, when, where, what, who of bookkeeping, recording your spendings and earnings and how to even do it. I've just shared the basic stuff, which is, I would say it's not complicated, but I have to acknowledge that it can be quite overwhelming, especially because there's so much more you're doing in the business and it's likely not the only thing you're doing as well. You have so many other roles. So I acknowledge that it is not an easy thing, It is not an easy thing. However, I want to encourage you just start with what you can. Progress is what we are looking for, not necessarily perfection. So just keep doing it. Look, I've worked in big organizations and I've seen how accounting is not a joke, even for big organizations with big accounting teams. So don't worry yourself looking for perfection. I think that's what I wanted 7 years ago when I started my business. I really wanted everything to be perfect. And please. The key thing is you just start, and then see how it goes. So the call to action for today is for you to figure out the best tool to use and start using it. God willing, next week, I want to talk or answer the question on the kinds of resources available to help startups. There are actually very, very good resources out there. We are not alone like that, so I'm going to share that, God willing, next week. As I wrap up, by the end of this month, I will finish the whole Start Your Own Fabulous Business series, and I will resume interviewing others. I know you've missed listening to other people's stories, so I'm going to start that at the end of this month. However, I feel that this is also important and we should focus on it. That's why I'm spending my time and resources to bring these to you. I hope it's been of value to you. If you have any questions, please feel free to share them in the comments. Also, if this audio has been of value to you, you can share it with others who may need it as well. I really appreciate that. And finally, remember, if you want to work with me one-on-one, it starts with a discovery call. Book that at amadankan.com/store. But if you feel you're not ready to work with me one-on-one, and if you want to just glean from what I'm sharing here, hallelujah, go on ahead and make some cash with it, or structure your business, or do whatever it is, whatever benefit it brings to you. I am happy. Until I come your way again, God willing, next week, it's toodles. Bye.